Hello everyone, I'm bringing you a video today looking at some Dutch issue M66 combat boots. Now I must apologise here, I'm a little bit under the weather. As you can probably tell, I have a bit of a cold, so you'll just forgive my stuffy voice basically. Thankfully the main part of the video was filmed when I didn't have a cold, so you won't have to put up with that too much hopefully. The boots arrived not that long ago. I did make an unboxing video looking at them then and showed the condition that they were in when they arrived. I've done a bit of restoration work to these to bring them back, make them usable. So we're going to talk about the boots in some detail and also talk about what I've done to them to restore them somewhat. So that's what we're going to have a look at now.
So here we have them, the Dutch M66 boots. I'm very pleased to have a pair of these. I've always rather liked them when I discovered them in researching Dutch kit. They're really quite an excellent design for something that originates in the mid-1960s. I really just like them as a pair of combat boots. I think they're a really neat design overall. Manufacturing quality is good. This particular pair arrived not that long ago, and I'll just cut some footage in here from the unboxing video to show you the condition they were in when they arrived. They were quite dried out and very rusty, and the eyelets for the laces, and just not in great condition, but that's fine because they're in a large size. I don't think they're actually a matched pair even, but no problem to me at all. Very kindly helped out in finding a pair of these by Kevin Mills, friend who lives over in the Netherlands. And as I say, finding a pair in my size was never going to be particularly easy because I've got relatively big feet. And these two are perfectly fine for wearing and cleaned up quite well. So just to talk briefly about what I did to clean these up, I've used Cure Rust on the eyelets to clean these up, and clean them up first of all, and used Cure Rust on them, which turns the rust obviously into a black compound which actually adheres to the metal, which is exactly what I wanted. So I think they really have cleaned up quite nicely and they look a lot better now. This boot is the worst of the two, unfortunately. A little bit cracked and so forth, as you can see there, but it hasn't cracked all the way through the leather. So I've been softening these up by wearing them. I've applied boot polish to them, and they're coming up quite nicely. This one, the shaft is bent over, which I've been sort of straightening out, and as I say, I've been wearing these around, but I think they really have cleaned up quite well. It's a fair bit of wear to the tread and so forth, but not too bad at all. Plenty of wear left in them for me to wear around for the limited use I'm going to see of them as and when the opportunity arises. So as I say, I really like these as a pair of boots. They are just overall a really nice design. I say high quality in terms of manufacture. This pair are in brown. I'm not quite sure when, but these were also manufactured in black. I'm not sure when production switched over or if they were produced in side by side for a while. Anyone who could clarify that point, I'd be very interested to know. I've also fitted new laces to these as well, just to let you know at that point there. You can see here the overall design. You see the seam running up here at the back stay up here. You can see there, heavily stitched. This one's seen a little bit of knocking about there. You can see a scrape on the back of the heel. And you can see the side seam coming around here again for the uppers attaching onto the lower part of the boot. So all of this lower here is one piece of leather, which is great in terms of waterproofing and so forth, and obviously runs up into the tongue as well, which you can see in there, which is again high quality, the stitching of that there, and held in place by the fact that these are riveted in place as well. The advanced feature on these, which I think, is the metal fixtures for the laces of the eyelets. I'm not quite sure what the technical term for these would be. Obviously they aren't speed lacing hooks, but with the laces running up through these, it's incredibly easy to pull the boot tight and then loosen it off to get the boots on and off. And obviously they run all the way up. I mean, most boots you see have eyelets down here and then maybe these running up the shaft. These start at the very bottom here, and it really does make these very, very easy to lace up and then pull tight and then loosen off, as I say, when you want to remove them. So I really like that feature, and as I say, it's something that drew me to these when I first discovered them, was the neat feature of this. And again, I'm being on a fairly early pair of boots from the 1960s. This is something you might be expected to see maybe in the late 70s, 80s in other boots, in other boot designs. The tread is a relatively simple tread pattern, not particularly deep. It originally has a texture to it, which you can see a little bit of here, as you can see a little bit on the toe as well. But obviously where the foot has borne on the ground, that's all worn away. But you can see the sort of tire tread pattern there, and then the heel just has chevrons across it there, as you can see. And we also have the marking on the sole here as well. So you have the NL mark at the bottom there, and then 46B, which I believe is the size. And then you've got, I think is that the metric sizing there down the middle? Not entirely sure on that, but anyway, that's the sole on this one. As I say, I don't think these are actually a pair. This one has a slightly different stamp on the bottom. You see the NLB46. There's a different amount of wear on each of these as well, as you can see. different level of wear. This one's considerably more worn in. This boot here on the left, that is. I'm holding them the wrong way around, which is going to annoy me if I don't swap them over. So we'll swap them over there. So you can see the difference in wear there, particularly in the heel. One thing to note with the heel is these are shaped. So you can see there you have the curve there. Each corner there is curved round, which is again a nice feature of the design. And as I say, just overall a really decent pair, really good design of combat boots. I think there are also markings inside on one of these, if I remember correctly. There we go. Yeah, on this one here. So you can see the internal leather is also a different colour between these as well. So they're a left and right boot of the correct sizes, but I don't believe these are actually a manufactured pair, interestingly enough. But you can see the marking here inside the shaft of this boot as well, and you have the size repeated there, 46B. These of course would be worn with the mesh insoles, which I don't have in these at the moment because I'm just wearing them around. I am going to get a pair of civilian insoles to wear in these for when I'm wearing them around to soften them up a bit. I tend to just wear them around the house. And as I say, I will get a pair of civilian insoles, which is why I've removed the mesh insoles. But I've talked about those previously in other videos on my other channel. They're basically identical to those used with British boots and with the US jungle boots and so forth. So I'm sure many people are familiar with them. And I will cover those in a future video at some point as well when I talk about other boot patterns. But as I say, the Dutch M66 combat boots, something I really like. I'd love to find a pair of these in black leather as well, in my size. That's probably a bit of a tall order, but we'll see. Maybe. I do like them in the brown first and foremost though, so I'm very happy to have a pair of these in brown. But that's a look at these boots. Hopefully you found it interesting. Anyone who could provide further information in the comments, always interested to hear. And as I say, hopefully, I'm quite pleased, and hopefully you can see the difference here pre and post restoration of these, comparing them to the footage when they first arrived.
So I hope you found it interesting looking at these. Obviously Dutch kit's been a bit of a focus on the channel recently. There will be other videos going forward looking at more Dutch kit, looking at more East German kit and so forth. So keep an eye out for future uploads. Obviously if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to the channel. And whether you're newly subscribing or you've previously subscribed, please do make sure you hit the little bell, the notification button down below, and that will of course alert you when I upload future videos. That's everything for this video. So until next time, bye for now. Very helpful, Apollo. Yes. Very helpful indeed. Hello.